First, we gotta go over each class individually, and then I'll explain the setup so you can make your most informed decision before beginning your Final Fantasy I adventure. So you want a character that can hit hard and also get hit hard without too much trouble. This class is exactly what you're looking for. If you're fairly new to the Final Fantasy I experience, you'll benefit the most from having a warrior in your party. And you may actually want to have more than one in your party. But that gets a little expensive, which means you'll need to grind a bit, and that means not only more money but higher levels. Something you'll want to have in this game, I promise you. While they can be fairly expensive to keep the latest and greatest armor on them, they're still the overall strongest class in the game, making them a no-brainer for a speedy and comfortable playthrough when balanced with the right mages. Once you attain the class change, knights can learn basic white magic spells, essentially making them a paladin. These guys start off weak, there's no way around it. However, as the game goes on and you level them up, thieves start hitting decently hard themselves and have high agility, meaning they'll probably attack before anyone else. If you're looking to run a lot from enemies to get through the dungeons quicker, definitely choose a thief. Their high agility and luck means they'll probably be the first to act in a battle, and if the run command is chosen, you should be out of a battle before the enemy has a chance to even realize what's happening. Once class change occurs, they'll turn into a ninja and they'll learn basic level black magic spells. They'll also start hitting as hard as a knight in most cases. Be warned, their HP levels will often be lower than a white mage, so keep them protected if you do use them. Monks are on par with warriors as far as damage goes, but you'll see pretty early on that they can ultimately do more damage than a knight. The only draw here is a low defense stat, and equipping monks with defensive items will mostly decrease that stat, or be equal to the monk's natural defense, which is the worst. It's best to keep your monk absolutely naked for most of the game, as burdening him with a weapon is the worst thing you can do, which in the end will save you a ton of money, which is something that you also need in the game. Class change to master equals exactly nothing, as they don't gain any magical abilities, and actually they get less defense upgrades than their previous class, which is just silly. Towards the end of the game though, equipment does become available to boost defense, but I'd absolutely keep a protect spell around just in case. Red mages are weird. I've never had any luck with them. As far as stats go, they pretty much run down the line of neutrality. Much lower HP than warriors, and less MP than mages, they don't really hit hard with physical or magical attacks, playing the role of a supporting actor. They can use a select group of white and black magic spells up to level 7, and can equip almost everything that a knight can. Class change to red wizard just means slightly more spells and equipment opens up, and that's kinda it. Early on in game, I'd actually keep this fella down there with the mages, maybe even below your white mage. I'll explain how the placement of characters means a lot in just a bit, but for now, the essential healer. White mages will keep all of your other characters healthy and protected, and can use magic that hit undead enemies, so they're useful in that nature too. It would be best to absolutely keep one of these mages around, but do not let them get knocked out under any circumstance. Keep your white mage protected at all costs, opting to spend a little money keeping their equipment upgraded. Speaking of upgrades, class change equals white wizard. The only thing gained really is the ability to equip more weapons and armor, and higher intelligence stats as you level up. Overall, they've got low speed and low evasion, so when they do get hit, it's pretty brutal in most cases. Me personally, I find that the white mage or white wizard using Thor's hammer as an item to cast Thundara works wonderfully well since they have high intelligence stats. And finally, our beloved Black Mage. I love a Black Mage. I use one in every setup. Firstly, they've got naturally low defense just like a White Mage, but their evasion stat is higher, meaning they'll definitely take some damage but will more than likely take it a little bit better. Intelligence stats are very high, making them essential for magic setups, especially when using spells that hit all enemies, at least to me. Later on in the game, after changing to a Black Wizard, they become the little wizard that could, and can actually hit pretty decently with physical attacks. Alright, before diving into setups and ways you can not only get through the game with relative ease, but also give yourself a massive challenge, I need to make note of placement within a party. It's relatively old information now, and I'm not really sure if it pertains to the Pixel Remaster version of Final Fantasy I, but generally the higher up in position, the more they get hit. It's something similar to characters in the top position has a 75% chance of being attacked, second position has a 50% chance, and the bottom two characters each have 25%. Don't quote me on those percentages, but it's fairly similar to that. I've also got channel memberships available now, and merch, so if you feel like supporting the channel in that way, please. I've got bills and cats. Both of those things are stupid expensive. Anyway, so to have the best party all together, you'll need a good combination of physical and magical attacks, plus defensive stuff too. I mean, you can use any party you want to, like 4 warriors or all monks or mages. Those types of setups are good for challenge runs. Of the 126 possible setups, I'll be focusing on the best 4 balanced setups, and then I'll look at other setups afterwards. By the way, let me ask you, what's your favorite Final Fantasy I party setup? Leave it in a comment and I'm actually going to go through and grade them. If I don't get to yours specifically, I'm very sorry, but I'm going to do my best to grade each and every one of them. This is a solid setup, especially towards the end of the game. You've got high stats including speed and fairly decent defense. You shouldn't have too much trouble making your way through this game with this setup. The speed stat from the thief helps you rush through dungeons if you feel like running from everything. As far as raw stats go, this one is stronger than the last overall. You've got 3 good physical attackers, and still a lot of magical ability, along with the high speed stat from the thief. If you did use this setup, I would definitely play the game a little out of order to get the class change quicker for the sake of your red mage learning better spells. Click this card to see my video about playing the game out of order, among other weird things to get through the game faster. This is my preferred setup right now. I've recently come across and started using the monk, and the results have been wonderful. It is weird to keep them unequipped for so long, but again, the results speak for themselves. There's a lot of specialization in this party, with each character doing one thing and one thing well. The only problem with this is, if someone dies, the entire party suffers. This was my go-to party for a long time. This setup is just massive, but quite expensive. You've got a ton of power mixed with a ton of intelligence. The speed stat won't even matter as you don't have a reason to run from anyone. The only problem with this setup besides the lack of gil you'll have lying around is the fact that there's only one Excalibur weapon, unless you opt to get the Masamune. Then Chaos doesn't stand a chance. You can also build parties that are more magic based, like Red Mage, Monk, White Mage, Black Mage, and things like that for fun if you hate using the fight command and you want to experiment with finishing battles with some thought put into them. Alternatively, you can also have a more physical based party, like 2 warriors, monk, and red mage. Or why not all black mages or white mages? First, we'll focus on what the wiki article calls 4 of a kind. 4 warriors. Not a challenge at all, actually. You just won't have any healing capabilities until later on. 4 red mages. Kinda similar to the warrior run, except after class change you'll have lower defense, but access to plenty of white magic. 4 thieves. This poses a high threat of hardly making it through the game at all, but it is doable. You just gotta be insanely careful and carry plenty of healing and defensive items with you if you want to do this run. 4 monks. Why? If you do attempt this run, don't get the class change, but you're asking for trouble. I'm not saying this isn't doable, but you've got virtually no defense stats to speak of, but dang, you'll do a lot of damage. 4 white mages. Do this run if you like grinding and spending a massive amount of time making your way through this game. You can ultimately make your defense super high, but you won't be dishing out a lot of damage. Unless, of course, you run into a pack of zombies. You'll make them wish they were never undeaded. You stay in the ground. 4 black mages. 0 MP. That's what you're gonna have. Just like with the white mage run, the game will take a million hours to get through, and you're gonna have to grind a lot. Any money earned with these last 2 setups need to go towards ethers primarily, which you can get early on in the Pixel Remaster, and I believe in the Dawn of Souls and PSP versions, but I could be wrong about that. Not recommended. If you're up for the challenge, be mindful of which class you pick to do this run. The rules for this run are simple. In the very first battle, kill off the bottom 3 characters and just go for it. You'll get a ton of EXP, making leveling easier, but overall this challenge isn't for the faint of heart. The biggest challenge run award goes to either the monk or the white mage runs. Do either one of those and you've done something amazing. Oh, by the way, do check out that video on getting through Final Fantasy I faster using just a few simple but effective and weird tips and tricks.